What's going on, everybody? Jeff Rose from GoodFinancialSense.com coming back with another video, and I want to ask a simple question. Does your credit score suck? Yeah, I said suck. So there's only three ways that you could answer that question. Either one, it does suck, two, it does not, or three, you have no idea. Now, if your credit score does not suck, then congratulations. But if you fall in one of the other two camps, either your credit score sucks or you have no clue, then this video is for you. Today I want to highlight some tips and strategies on how you can increase your credit score by 100 points or more in less than 5 months. Let's take a look. Now, I'm amazed at how many people have no idea what their credit score is. They are absolutely clueless. Clueless. No idea. They're clueless.
I have absolutely no idea what's going on.
And I kind of get it, because your credit score is something that you shouldn't obsess about. It's something that you don't have to think about on a daily basis. But it becomes very important when you come to a point in your life, whether you're wanting to buy a car or buy a house or rent an apartment. And if you are oblivious to what your credit score is, then you might wake up one day and realize, crap, I need to get my credit score in check today. So today I want to share a personal story of myself, how I increased my credit score by over 100 points. I also want to share a personal story of a close friend that woke up one day and realized, wow, my credit score is in trouble. I need to fix it. And how he was able to increase his credit score by over 100 points in less than 5 months. And then I want to share 3 strategies on how you can get your credit in order. All right, let me share my personal story. So I was about 20 years of age. I had moved back to the Midwest, and I had checked my credit score and realized that it sucked. Now, I don't remember the exact number, but it was very low. It was kind of embarrassing. And I had no idea why it was so low. So then I checked my credit report. Now, we'll talk a little bit more about credit reports later on in this video. Now, when I checked my credit report, I found that I was being marked delinquent from an old gym membership that I had when I used to live on the West Coast. Now, this gym, the closest gym to me where I live now, was over 5 hours. And I wasn't driving 5 hours to work out, to drive 5 hours back. But I had canceled my membership, but for whatever reason, they still marked me as being delinquent. So it turns out this was killing my credit score. So what I had to do is I called the gym, told them the situation, that I had moved to the Midwest. I wasn't even close to a gym there, and they ended up taking that delinquency off my credit report. That in turn raised my credit score by over 100 points just by correcting that one simple error. And you would be amazed at how simple errors will affect your credit score, whether it be the wrong name, the wrong address, maybe they have your employer information wrong. So many different things, like my gym membership being marked delinquent, will crush your credit score, but I was oblivious to it until I checked my credit report. So you just have to check to find out if there's anything on your report that shouldn't be there or needs corrected and fixed. So that was my personal story. Let me share another story of an intern that I had several years ago. Now, this intern was helping me do some market research for my book, Soldier of Finance. So in my book, I have a large section talking about credit reports, credit scores, a lot of what I'm talking about today. But I need to have some more information for that book. So this intern set out to find as much as he could about credit scores and credit reports. Now, in his research, he got curious about what his credit score was. So he decided to check his credit score. Turns out his credit score was in the low 600s, and he was blown away because he had no idea. See, in his case, his parents had always told him to avoid credit cards because they are so dangerous. But what they didn't realize was that their son had no credit history. And because he had no credit history, his credit score was in turn low. Now, in the grand scheme of things, was this that big of a deal? We have a college student who hadn't graduated yet that has a low credit score. So was it really affecting his life? At the moment, it wasn't. But once he graduated, if he was wanting to rent an apartment or buy a car or eventually buy a new house, if his credit score was still at the level that it was, then he would have been denied or been forced to pay a much higher interest rate. Wanting to avoid those options, he decided to do something about it. So what did he do? He opened a secure credit card. Now, what's a secured credit card? Now, most credit cards are unsecured. So that means if you apply for a $5,000 credit card limit, then you don't have to put any money down. You get approved for $5,000 and you can go blow it on what you want. I got credit, I can go buy some stuff, I got a lot of credit. No, please, please, please don't do that. Don't go buy a bunch of stuff just because you've got credit. Now in his case, since his credit score was so low, he would not have got approved for an unsecured credit card, so he had to get a secured credit card. So with a secured credit card, you actually have to put money down. So in his case, he had to put down $500 just to be able to use the credit card. Now it seems kind of pointless. Like, I'm gonna put $500 down on a credit card and I can only charge $500. Why would I want to do that? And here's the reason why. Because what you are doing is that you are demonstrating to the credit card company that you can pay your bills on time. So if you have a $500 limit and you charge $500 and you pay it off in a timely fashion, that will increase your credit score. And that's exactly what he did. He put $500 down on this secured credit card, paid it off every single month, and by showing that he can make his payments on time, he in turn increased his credit score by over 100 points in less than 5 months. And that's just one way of many to increase your credit score by a huge number in a short amount of time. All right, before we get into the 3 strategies and how to increase your credit score by over 100 points, let's first understand what makes up your credit score. Now, there are 5 major factors that account for what your credit score is, but 2 of them represent 65% of your total score. So what are those major 2 things? The first thing is your payment history. Now, your payment history represents 35% of your credit score. Your payment history is, are you making your payments on time? Do you have any late payments? Are you delinquent like I was on my gym membership? If that's the case, if you have any late payments, it will crush your credit score. If you are ever late, contact that credit card company, that utility company, your landlord, whoever that is, to see if they will take that off of your credit report by making that payment. Do whatever you have to do to get that off of your credit report. And going forward, make sure to never miss a payment. You do not want to do that, I promise you. Now, the second major factor is how much credit are you using? Or as they say, your credit utilization ratio. Utilization. Now, I know that's a big fancy word, utilization, but basically all that means is how much of your credit are you using? If you have a $10,000 credit card limit and you have fully maxed it out, that's a 100% utilization ratio, and that's not where you want to be. Typically, they suggest to stay somewhere in that 30 to 35% range. So if you have a $10,000 limit, then you would only want to charge a max of $3,000 on that credit card. Creditors just want to make sure that you are not overextending yourself, that you are not overtapped, and you can pay your bills on time. Now, another thing that you want to be careful of is doing a balance transfer. Oftentimes, you'll see these credit card companies offer a 0% balance transfer. And if you have a high interest rate, 10% or greater, that can be awfully attractive. But here's one warning that I want to give you on this. Let's say that you have a $10,000 limit and you're only using $3,000. So you have that 30% utilization ratio, which is good. But then if you do a balance transfer, that credit card company, the new one, may not give you the same limit that you had before because you're not using as much. So I've seen cases where people did a balance transfer where they had a $10,000 limit and were only utilizing $3,000 on that card. In the new card, they only got a $5,000 limit, but still had the $3,000 balance that they had to pay off. So now they went from having a 30% utilization ratio to a 60% utilization ratio, and in turn hurting their credit score. So just a word of caution, if you are doing a balance transfer, make sure that you understand if you are getting the exact same limit that you had before. Otherwise, you could be hurting your credit score. So the other 3 factors include credit history, which makes up 15%, credit inquiries, which make up 10%, and then types of debt, which is also 10%. So credit score companies will look at all these different factors to determine what your credit score is. So what is a good credit score? So on the high range, the FICO score, which is the most common credit score used, 850 is the highest that you can get. And yes, there are crazy people that have a perfect credit score, not me, but I am on the excellent side. So if you are 750 and above, you have excellent credit. So 700 to 749 is good credit, 650 to 699 is poor credit, 550 to 649 is bad, and if you're below 550, then I'm sorry, I just gotta say a prayer for you because you are screwed. No, that just probably means that you have a lot of late payments and you have a lot of work to do. It's not impossible, but you better roll up your sleeves and get to work. I would roll up my sleeves, but I'm wearing short sleeves, so I really can't roll them up. But I'm still getting to work on my credit. All right, let's talk about the 3 ways to improve your credit score and raise it by 100 points or more. Now, step 1 is you have to know where you are. So if you're in that camp of being oblivious where you don't know what your credit score is, you've never checked your credit report, then you gotta know, you have to know. One simple way is that you can go to annualcreditreport.com and get a free credit report. From there, you can see if there's any wrong information, if they have your employer information wrong, if your social security is wrong, if you're being marked delinquent or late or anything, it will be on your credit report. Another free service that allows you to get your credit report and a credit score is Credit Karma. So with Credit Karma, they'll give you a free credit report and they'll also give you a credit score, but it's not your FICO score, which is the most commonly used credit score by any lender or any institution if you're applying for a loan. But it is what's called a Vantage score, which is close to your FICO score, but it's not exact. But if you've never checked your credit report before or have no clue on what your credit score is, then guess what? At least it's going to give you some insight if there's any areas that need to be improved. So step 2 is you have to fix your credit problems. So now that you have your credit report and you know what your credit score is, it's time to get to work. What needs to be fixed? As I mentioned about my personal situation, about the gym membership, when I saw that I was being marked delinquent, I had to call them and verify that I had moved out of state. So I had to provide proof of residence that I did not live next to a gym, that I could go to the gym and work out. So it took a little bit of work, but once I got that removed, I saw an immediate increase on my credit score. So what are things that you need to do? What are areas that you need to improve based on the information that you learn from your credit report? Whatever that is, get to work and get it done. And the last thing is to raise that credit score. Now I know that you can't go and raise it yourself, I wish you could, but what does that mean? That means that you better make your payments on time. That means if you don't have any credit history, apply for a secured credit card so that you can build your credit history and find other ways that you can also build your credit history. If your credit cards are maxed out, then pay off as much as you can to lower what your credit utilization ratio is so that you can show creditors that you can make your payments on time and that you're not overextended and that you have financial control of your finances. All these factors will go into increasing your credit score, and there's no reason why you can't increase it by 100 points or more in a very short amount of time. Okay, it's your turn. I want to know, do you know what your credit score is? Do you? Do you really know? Have you ever checked your credit report? Did you find anything that shouldn't have been there that you had to get fixed? I want to hear from you. Leave a comment below to let me know when's the last time that you checked your credit report or your credit score. And if you haven't yet, leave a comment to let me know when you're going to do it, because let's get your credit in check. Let's get you on the right track. If you found this video useful or informative, give me a like. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel, because guess what? I got more videos, more content. I want to help you take charge of your financial life. This is Jeff Rose from GoodFinancialSense.com. Until next time, today I want to highlight, I need to fix it, how he was able to increase his credit. Oh my gosh, I can't talk. And the closest gym to me by an old gym member